At this point in time, we're still making decisions for our learners. Okay? I honestly believe we should not be doing that. They should be choosing the materials they want to use out of the classroom. The problem is we don't know. Okay? So we need to have an idea, and then we can test our ideas on the students and get feedback from them. And that's how we answer this question. How can the teacher answer these questions from the learner's perspective? We're not learners, we're teachers. Okay? A lot of the time we don't maybe for you, but for me, a lot of the time I don't think enough about the learner. Okay? Alright, and this is how I answer these questions. This is activities for the first lesson in my classroom. Okay? So, I have my brainstorming ideas of situations, materials out of the classroom. I have a list of them. This is a list I'll introduce to my learners. Their ideas. I'm just giving them ideas about the materials and situations. Okay? And I give them these ideas through these types of activities. I create a listening activity. I can create my own. I can ask me and John to sit down and talk as teachers about out-of-classroom materials and focus on materials on my list. Or I could ask two Vietnamese people who are very competent in English to talk about their experience as learners and talk about how they would use these materials. Okay? I can get people from all different countries to sit down and talk for 5 minutes about out-of-classroom learning with all the different materials, situations and topics that they would like to use, they have used. And I can record this. One program we have it, you can get in Vietnam for free, you can download this program, it doesn't cost you any money, is Audacity. And you can record this into your computer and you can record the conversation. It might be a 2-minute conversation, it might be a 5-minute conversation. You record it and you make a listening activity for your classroom. Your first lesson, in they come, okay? I don't start with ball games, what's my name? I start with this. They come in, they sit down, we have a listening activity, I play the CD, we're into it, okay? After they do the listening activity, well, they've been introduced to out-of-classroom learning activities through the listening activity. I've introduced them to different things they'll be able to do out of the classroom. Okay? I'll help them with their general ideas. Okay? Then they conduct student surveys. They make surveys and we do pyramid or jigsaw activities where they move around the classroom interviewing and sharing their ideas. Okay? And while they do this, they answer 4 more questions. This is, what do you like doing out of the classroom? I like playing badminton. Fine, they write it down. Okay? Where can you do it with English? I like playing badminton. Where can I do it with English? I don't know, do you know? Okay? I like listening to music. Where can I do it with English? I don't know, I'll go to karaoke. Okay? They talk about these types of things together. They help each other, they brainstorm. And through pyramid and jigsaw activities, this extends where if I have a classroom of 60 students, each student will know what every other student is talking about through these types of activities. If you're not familiar with pyramid or jigsaw activities, please ask me after the class, okay? You can do it with 500 students. It doesn't matter on the number, okay? Then, what English skills could you practice? A very important point. Okay? So, what do they like doing? Where can they do it in English? And what English skills? Specific skills. Not speaking, what? Reading, what? What specific skills can you practice? And finally, what positive habits from other students do you think are useful? What ideas did another student give you about learning out of the classroom? Okay. And as they've answered all of these questions, they've completed their own student contract. It's done. This is an individual needs analysis, okay? And now, needs. We have classroom needs, what we need our students to do, but this is what they want to do, okay? And we'll move on shortly and talk about how we can link needs and wants, okay? But they complete this themselves. We complete the rules, they complete this, okay? which I'll move on to show you. Excuse me. Okay. Alright, now, after this has been completed, this is a student contract that some of my students have done. Okay? This has been photocopied, and some teachers in the LI use it, some teachers use their own. Okay? I didn't make all this, my students made this. Okay? They decide what they want to do out of the classroom. Okay? They decide that. Okay? Now, these students I taught for 3 months on a different contract. This is their second contract. Okay? So in the first 3 months, they were already introduced to many ideas and situations. Then we started the process again, and they became more specific about what they want to do. Okay? They decide how many hours a week. Okay? And they decide yes or no. Okay? If they want to do it. Maybe they've worked in pairs. One student likes this, another student doesn't. Okay? At present, I maybe have 10 student contracts. Okay? They're all being developed by the students. Now, as a teacher, if I look at this student contract that the students completed, okay, I can gauge their motivation, each student's motivation. What are they going to do? I can gauge how motivated they are. Okay? I can gain insight into the ways they prefer to study. I can see how they prefer to study. Okay? I can see what they enjoy doing away from class. I get all this information by spending 30 seconds looking at this. Right? They're all very important things that I need to know. Right? Then I can investigate. This is the hard part of my job. Then I can investigate how this can be extended to improve their English. Okay? And what skills and guidance the students need in class to do this out of class. That's my job. Okay? Now, through scaffolding different learners and different levels through whatever out of classroom skills they need, yeah, I can actually include more out of classroom authentic materials within my classroom. Okay? All right, a lot of people, if you haven't worked with me, you'll see I don't usually run around looking for a lot of materials for my classes. The reason being, the students bring them. Okay? It saves time on me, the students are more motivated, they enjoy using them. Okay? And I can use their out of classroom materials into an actual learning program. I can find ways to sync what they like and want to do into the needs of the program that's being put upon them. Okay? So when we teach programs to students, they're not designed for each individual people, they're designed for a big group. Okay? In that group there's different needs and wants. I can use their needs and wants here and incorporate that into the general aim of the program. Now, I've mentioned scaffolding students in the use of out of classroom materials. Okay, I've talked about, we've got out of classroom materials, we need to scaffold them, how to use them. I'd like to give you a quick example of one such process. Okay, so these are some of my old students. Okay, I did not say go and watch the media on the computer. Okay, that's not scaffolding, that's me telling them what to do. They don't know what to do with the media. We might assume they know what to do. Okay? Trust me, they don't. Alright? So, this is, I have a stage system that they need to follow. Okay? So, at the moment, these students are listening to Radio National, ABC, an Australian network that's on all our internet stuff. Okay? They listen to it every day. Alright? Now, they start off by, they listen for fun. They listen for as many times as they want. They don't read the tape script, they just listen. Listen for fun. Okay? Then they make the flow plan or the news story, which includes topics, main ideas, and supporting examples while they're listening. Then they make a brief summary of the news story using their flow plan. Any information they missed, they make some questions to answer. They've written down their questions and they listen again to answer those questions. We're going from general listening to more specific listening. And any course book you pick up, any English exam, if you want to break down any type of listening, they're the two. Following the general information and getting the specific information. And they can do all of this every day without me, without a course book, for free. Okay? Now, so they make some notes, the questions to answer, and they listen again to find these answers. Then they make some notes of new vocabulary and grammar structures that they can use. They steal the language that they want. Then they listen again and they read the tape script for the first time. They may have listened 7, 8, 10, 15 times. They may have listened 2 times if they're high level. This is the first time they actually read the transcript or tape script. Okay? Then they email them up, they chat, internet chat with a classmate. It might be Skype, might be Yahoo, might be MSN. They all love internet chatting. I'm very lucky. Okay? So they talk to a classmate about their news story. They use their summary, they use their flow plan, they use their new vocabulary and grammar when they're talking to a classmate at home, on the internet, for free. There's no excuses. Oh, I have no one to talk to. Yes, you do. You have a computer at home, you have the internet. If you don't, bad luck. Go to a coffee shop. Okay? Then, after this, they practice it for class as a warm-up. So if you have the opportunity to walk around my classrooms, you'll see 10 minutes before class until 20 minutes after the classes began. I'm probably just walking around the class looking very relaxed while my students are talking to each other. I haven't ordered them to do it. I'm not making them to do it. They're doing it as a warm-up to the lesson. Okay, I'm listening, monitoring, and I'll give them some feedback at the end. After the whole class warm-up, I'll choose one student to present their news story to the class. And the whole class listen and give detailed feedback regarding their speaking, their vocabulary, their grammar, their structures. The next class, exactly the same. I'll choose a different student, mark it off the roll, and if I've taught these students for 3 months, and I've had 35 different classes, each student will have had to speak in their class at least once. If you have more than 35 students, well, there's an ongoing process, but everyone should get a turn. A way of being monitoring, they're doing their homework, which is important for other skills. A way for them to monitor each other, and a way for them to build teamwork and have fun with English. Now, so in summary, to recap the design process of a successful student contract, okay? A student contract is 2 parts. Firstly, in-classroom obligations. Okay, I've chosen 5 category rules. You may have more, you may have less. Those 5 are successful for me. Each category rule is general, is simple, and familiarises students with my environment. Okay? The second part of the process is how to guide students to become good language learners. And this links to out-of-classroom materials. I'm using the out-of-classroom materials to guide them to become good language learners, to take control of their own study, to take their own responsibility, to move away from teacher, teacher, teacher. Okay, I'm here to help. They're never alone. But to them to move away from that line of thought. Now, with regards to using out-of-classroom materials, now, once again, this was constructed jointly between me and the students. I didn't construct all of it, they didn't construct all of it, okay? It focuses on an individual needs analysis, individual students' objectives, individual students' targets, individual students' wants, needs, interests, okay? Then, one of the most important things though is the teacher needs to scaffold learners in how to use out-of-classroom materials. We need to help them with this. This is our challenge. while we're scaffolding them out of classroom materials, we need to find ways to monitor they are using them. To monitor they're using them with the methodologies and skills that we believe are important that will help them. Okay? It's being productive. It's not quantity of homework. Doing your homework in a productive way. An enjoyable way, but a productive way to get the most from it. Now, this process benefits learners, their acquisition, okay? It benefits our skill base. As teachers, we have to be much more creative. If our students like singing karaoke in English, well, we can't tell them, go and sing karaoke, it's good for you. What other skills can they learn from karaoke? Okay, can they learn grammar? Can they learn vocabulary? Can they learn a whole different range of pronunciation skills? Yes, they can. We need to highlight that and help them focus on those specific skills so they get the most from their karaoke session. Okay, that's one general example. Okay, anything they give us, we need to sit back and think about our methodologies and how students can be as productive as possible with those materials out of the classroom, and how we are going to monitor them in the classroom. If you don't monitor them, they won't do it. If you monitor them, they'll do it. It'll become a good study habit, and over time you won't have to monitor them. It'll be something they enjoy, they take very seriously. Now also, the final thing with implementing this sort of methodology as a teacher, it becomes part of your programs and the institution's programs, and they're constantly evolving. You're never in the same situation again. Oh, I've taught this course book 50 times, it's so boring. Okay? It's always evolving. You're always motivated. You're learning more yourself. You're thinking out of the box, but in a very structured way. So, in the final part of this workshop or presentation, I'd like to focus on the study contract with regards to this as guided tasks, okay? And not just a general outline of what to study out of class. It can't be too general. They need to know how to do it, why to do it, okay? And practical uses for student contracts that reinforce and build on independent learning. Now first, once again, start off methodology, okay? Now, once I mentioned at the start to find a balance between Swan and Christian's language development theories. Now, a lot of us focus on in the classroom, and then they go and do it out of the classroom. I'm talking about the reverse. What they do out of the classroom, what they want to do out of the classroom, what they need to do out of the classroom, what interests them out of the classroom. With English, we bring that back into the classroom. And now this requires monitoring of how the students are using out of classroom materials. We have to monitor that. It's very difficult to do. It takes time, we need to be creative, and we need to allocate how much time we will monitor that within our lessons. Now, this is, for me, it's easily done with warm-up activities, such as this. During the lesson, quick activities. I set homework tasks that I give them, I assess them on. That's part of their assessment, completing out-of-classroom activities that involve out-of-classroom materials. Also, this requires the scaffolding of how to use them. Now, okay, so, scaffolding. Okay, now scaffolding needs to support Vygotsky's ZPD, Zone of Proximal Development. In academic theory, is this, if you can imagine, point A and point X. There's different levels of development, not just with English, with anything in life. And through being introduced to it, practicing it, having feedback, practicing again, you work through this zone of development. And a lot of methodology now works on that. And when I talk about scaffolding, I'm talking about different steps in the process or their development and skills. Now, students need to learn how and why to study out of the classroom, and they need this scaffolding, these little steps within their skills to do that. Now, it's not enough just to tell them, to tell your students, go and read the newspaper. How do they read the newspaper? What skills are they practicing with the newspaper? How do they practice these skills? They need that information. Okay, go and study from other books. They walk to the books and they open them and they study. Okay, how do they study from the books? What do they need to study from the books? How do they get the most from that book? Listen to music, use the internet. Too general. We need specific scaffolding, steps, with a whole range of skills that they can practice to get the most from it. Go and talk with English. Go and talk English with people. Okay? They need to be introduced how to do that. Okay? They're nervous, they're shy, they're uncomfortable. They might need quick introductory patterns, all things that we take for granted that they don't know what to do. Now, I can talk about this, but I'll highlight these points in the following student feedback. Once again, this is not from me, this is from students. Okay, these are mistakes that I've made. I've used a student contract. I thought I was very structured. I believed I scaffolded them in the most perfect way. I was absolutely confident I was doing the best job possible. And this is the feedback I got. I wasn't doing enough. Okay? Now, students needed to know, these students need to know how to use the out-of-classroom study materials within the student contract. Now, Tun says, there are a variety of resources to support students with their studying. However, sometimes they may get confused. Therefore, there still needs a kind of requirement or help from the teacher to orientate and request them to concentrate seriously on accessing knowledge. I can summarize this by me saying, go and watch TV. Okay? I need to help them through that process. I need to orientate them through that process. Okay? I need to help them to concentrate seriously on skills while doing that. Now, a student train mentions about specific tasks and sequencing of those tasks. Okay? Now, can lead to inequality, the student contract can lead to an inequality of skills, so needs need to be more specific with what to do. We need to be very, very specific. Having a student contract that says, watch TV, you listen to music, sing karaoke, talk to native speakers, it's too general. These students want it more specific. They want us to teach them how to do this, which is strange because we all assume that's very natural. How hard is using the internet? How hard is watching TV? But they want more from it. They don't want to be confused by their study. They want to know where their study's going. Jung said, it is too flexible. I need concrete, must, obligations. Now, many students only have one target with their study. One target, okay? They only want one piece of study material, such as, why no IELTS? Okay? A lot of us have probably cringed at this. Okay? Now, so Sun says, I missed the idea because no IELTS. I've asked her to use out-of-classroom materials. I've scaffolded her through the process. She knew exactly what to do with each piece of material and exactly how that would help her with English. I missed one thing. Okay? She didn't know how the out-of-classroom material relates to her objectives. Okay? I could have related that to her very easily and very quickly, but I didn't. Okay? So how is what we're doing with out-of-classroom materials going to relate to their objectives? Another challenge for us. And if you're teaching an IELTS class, it's quite simple to do when you think about it. Okay? If you sit down and think about out-of-classroom materials, how that relates to specific IELTS skills, it's all interrelated. Now, or in summary, Fulp says, it needs to be clear with the learners about the purpose of and the purposes within the contract. Why they're using it, how it uses it, how does it relate to their life, their needs, their wants. Now, other practical uses for a student contract that are beneficial only if the teacher takes it very, very seriously, okay?